Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja Śrīla Gurudev ki jai. Nitilapa Vishtam Vishnupar Ashatara Shatashmar Bhaktivedānta Vaman Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Nitilapa Vishtam Vishnupar Ashatara Shatashmar Bhaktivedānta Swami Mahārāja Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Nitilapa Vishta Maha Bhagavat Śrīla Goksharas Babaji Mahārāja ki jai. Nitilapa Vishta Śrīla Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Nitila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Patadasha Raghunath Sharda Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshada Vrinda ki jai. Nama Acharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shiksheta Mandala Gora Mandala Braja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. Shri Radha Kunna Shama Kun ki jai. Shri Munu Devi Ganga Devi ki jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrindai Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Vo. Dandavat Pranam, everybody. Let me share my screen with you. All right. What's today? Today is the 21st. Okay, so the next day coming up is Srivas Pandit's appearance day on the 25th. All right. So, Chapter 2 of the Pinnacle of Devotion. These are classes that Gurudev gave in, I think it was in February in 1997 in Australia. Continuing on, I'm doing a proofread, as you all know. So if you find any mistakes anywhere, anything that can be improved, please point it out. For example, whenever it does something like this, by when it says Chaitanya Charitamrita here, and then it gives the verse, then might as well just delete this reference here and add this up here. And these save space and unnecessary words on the page. All right. Shri Guru as a manifestation of Krishna. I have begun to explain the very important Mangalacharanam verse of Krishna Karnamrita by Srila Bilva Mangal Thakur as found in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chintamanir jayati somagarir gurur me shiksha gurungscha bhagavan shikipincha moli yad pada kalpataru pallava shekareshu lila swayam vararasam labate jayashri. All glories to Chintamani and my initiating spiritual master, Somagiri. All glories to my instructing spiritual master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who wears peacock feathers in his crown. Under the shade of his lotus feet, which are like desire trees, Jayashri, Radharani, enjoys the transcendental mellow of an eternal consort. Srila Bilva Mangal Thakur first offers his obeisances to Chintamani, who had once directed him towards Sri Krishna, and then to his Diksha Guru, Somagiri. The word Chintamani in this verse also means that the Guru is like Chintamani, a wish-fulfilling stone, because Guru gives us Sri Krishna. The word Chintamani also refers to Sri Krishna himself, who is actually Srila Bilva Mangal Thakur's Shiksha Guru. How beautiful this Shiksha Guru is, with peacock feathers in his crown, with 3 folds on his neck and abdomen, and with a 3-fold bending form. He sings so sweetly. His lotus feet are like the wish-fulfilling trees, and they are like soft leaves. His toenails shine very beautifully. The tips of his toes are more beautiful than the rays of the moon, and the rays of his toenails are very fragrant. The name Jayashri in the above-mentioned verse refers to Srimati Radhika, who gives her heart, her life, and her soul to Sri Krishna. Offering her entire life thousands of times over, she performs arati to the rays emanating from his toenails. And by this, she feels the same happiness as if it were her Swayamvar. What is the meaning of Swayamvar? One second, I just want to see everything's running okay. And who all is here? It looks like it's all good. Dandavat pranams. I don't see anything in the chat, though. That's interesting. Usually there's a bunch of messages here. I wonder if that's just... Anyways, I think everything's working, right? If it's not... One second, let me see. Yeah, there's something wrong with chat. It's not letting me even... Like, usually I can post stuff here. Anyhow. Okay. So, by this, she feels the same happiness as if it were her Swayamvar. What is the meaning of Swayamvar? To help you understand, I will tell you about the Swayamvar of Sri Krishna. Once, Krishna's cousin sister Draupadi met with all his queens, Satyabhama, Rukmini, Lakshmana, and others, at Kurukshetra. Draupadi asked the queens how they had become so fortunate as to have gotten Krishna as their husband, and Lakshmana then told the story of how she became his wife. Lakshmana was the darling daughter of a powerful king who, seeing her as an extremely beautiful and qualified girl, wanted to ensure that she would be given to an equally qualified husband. The king thus arranged for a Swayamvar ceremony. He placed a very high pillar in the earth. On the top of the pillar, he placed a spinning chakra, and above the chakra was an artificial fish. He had promised the hand of Lakshmana to the one who, while looking down at a reflection of the fish in the pond of water, would be able to shoot with an arrow the pupil in the eye of the fish. The world's champion archers were invited to attend, including Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa, so dots there, Dronacharya, Jarasandha, Shishupal, Bhima, Nakula, Sahadeva, and Arjuna, and each was confident that he would marry the beautiful Lakshmana. Bhishma and Dronacharya also came, thinking, if I shoot that fish in its pupil, I will then arrange that this girl be married to Duryodhan. However, except for Krishna, every one of these archers failed in his attempt. Most of them could barely even see the reflection of the fish in the water, so they gave up their bows. Karna saw the fish, but couldn't aim. Arjuna came forth very boldly and aimed at the fish, but his arrow only touched the tail of the fish. All were helpless. Then Sri Krishna stepped forward and moved so swiftly that no one could see when he picked up his bow, shot the arrow, and pierced the pupil of the fish's right eye. Lakshmana told Draupadi, I became overjoyed, and my friends gave me a garland to place on the neck of Krishna. The selection of a bridegroom from thousands of suitors is called Swayamvar, and this was a tradition in ancient India. At Lakshmana's Swayamvar, there were thousands of princes, and although these princes were very handsome and qualified, she had given her heart to Sri Krishna. Having heard his glories, she wanted to marry him, but she had felt hopeless in that regard. When Krishna shot the eye of the fish, Lakshmana's face glowed with happiness. The hairs on her body stood on end, and she could barely stand up. She trembled, and her eyes looked down as she stealthily gave a sidelong glance towards Sri Krishna. Krishna, who was always searching for beautiful girls, also secretly glanced towards Lakshmana. When she received his glance, she was so overwhelmed that she could not raise her arms to place the garland on his neck. Her girlfriends had to help her. She became so overjoyed that she lost external consciousness. This is the happiness of a Swayamvar. Similarly, Srila Bilvamangal Thakur wrote that Srimati Radhika becomes overjoyed to serve the rays coming from Sri Krishna's lotus toenails. One second. Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati, Srila Rupa Goswami, and the Vaishnavas in our cyclical line are not pleased to hear about Srimati Radhika serving Sri Krishna in this way. Rather, they prefer to hear that Krishna is obtaining the happiness by serving the lotus feet of Srimati Radhika. They want to see Krishna praying for this opportunity. Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati writes in Radha Rasa Sudhanidhi, verse 39, Vangshikara patita skalitam shikandam bhrashtam chapita vasanam vrajaraja suno yasya kataksha sharapa pata vimurchitasya tang radhikam paricharami kadarasena. Struck by the arrows of Srimati Radhika's sidelong glance, the son of the king of Vraj loses external consciousness. His flute falls from his hand, his peacock feather is askew, and his yellow garment is in disarray. When will I be able to render service to Srimati Radhika with the topmost devotion? Once, as Krishna was going to herd the cows, he saw Srimati Radhika in a beautiful grove. She glanced at him from the corner of her eyes, which were quivered like a bow shooting arrows of prem. Beholding this scene, Krishna lost control of himself. His flute fell from his hands. His peacock feather fell from his head. He lost external consciousness, and his body trembled. Seeing this way, Madhu Mangal nudged him and asked, "Oh friend, what are you doing? Nanda Baba, Yashoda Maya, and many others are here. You cannot behave like this in front of them. Be careful." Krishna immediately came to his senses. In this verse, Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati is praying, I want to serve this Srimati Radhika. Her veil, fragrant from contact with her body, carries the sweet fragrance to Krishna's nostrils, and upon his inhaling that fragrance, he loses all control. The love and affection of Srimati Radhika is higher than that of Sri Krishna. Although Sri Bilvamangal Thakur indicates that Sri Krishna is superior to Radhika, those in the line of Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, and Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati desire that Radhika be always victorious over Krishna. And it actually happens that way. In this way, Bilvamangal Thakur is praying to Sri Krishna, his Shiksha Guru. What kind of Shiksha Guru? Krishna is Chaita Guru, the Guru in the hearts of all beings. In his pastimes, Krishna himself comes as the Shiksha Guru. For example, he becomes Guru for Arjuna. He is extremely merciful, and prayers to him do not go in vain. Therefore, the first duty of the devotees is to have faith in him. Srila Bilvamangal Thakur and Srila Rupa Goswami are examples of devotees who possess such faith. Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami often discussed with each other the glories of Sri Radha and Krishna. On one such occasion, Srimati Radhika noticed that it was already midday and they had not yet eaten. Appearing as a teenage village girl, she came to Srila Rupa Goswami and said, "You have not prepared any foodstuffs today. Are you fasting? My mother has given me some milk, rice, and sugar. So please make kheer, sweet rice, for yourselves." But Srila Rupa Goswami had no time to make the kheer because he and his brother were totally absorbed. They were totally absorbed in sharing with each other Srimati Radhika's glories. Therefore, Srimati Radhika offered to make it for them. She brought some dry cow dung, and by her mere desire, a fire was manifested. In a moment, she made very beautiful, tasteful kheer, presented it to Srila Rupa Goswami, and said, "Please offer this kheer to your worshipable deity, then give some to your brother, and then take some for yourself." After tasting that remarkable kheer, Sanatana Goswami began to wonder who the girl was. He questioned Rupa. "Oh Rupa, have you prayed to Radhika requesting her to come?" "I have not." "But she came and cooked for us. taste this prasadam. It could only have been cooked by her. As they each took some of the sweet rice, they wept uncontrollably and cried out to Srimati Radhika, "Now you have disappeared and we have lost our opportunity to offer obeisances and serve you. Instead, we have troubled you by having you cook for us." Srila Sanatana Goswami then told his brother, Rupa, Rupa, don't do anything like this in the future. How marvelous their devotion is. Let us try to follow in their footsteps. Remembering pastimes such as this, let us try to serve the divine couple, Shishi, Radha, and Krishna. So now we're continuing on with the verses of Chaitanya Charitamrita. I want to see if I refresh the screen, if the chat will come back. Because I have no idea if the mic sound is too soft or I don't know anything. So hopefully it will just continue on. I'm going to click refresh now. Reload. Okay, I'm back. Looks like chat is working now. I have no idea who's here though, because it wasn't working before. Let me just share my screen again. But anyways, Dandavat pranams to all of you who are here. Sorry, I can't see who you are right now. But yeah, let me know if everything's okay though. So yeah, now we're continuing on with the next verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita. As mentioned, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj explains that the bona fide Diksha Guru is the Rupa of Krishna, and the bona fide Shiksha Guru is the Swarup of Krishna. Although they are equal, sometimes Shiksha Guru may be superior, and sometimes Diksha Guru may be, but they are both liberated. They are both Uttam Adhikari. Now he will further explain Krishna's manifestation as a Bhakta. Ishvara Sarupa Bhakta Tar Adhishtan Bhaktera Hridaya Krishner Satata Vishram. That's the first chapter of Adi Lila, verse 61. A pure devotee constantly engaged in the loving service of the Lord is identical with the Lord, always seated in his heart. The Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru are non-different manifestations of Sri Krishna, as are all Krishna's pure devotees. The hearts of those pure devotees are the abode of Krishna. Krishna can take rest in their hearts because their hearts are pure, free from worldly desires. In their hearts, there are no sufferings or problems, as there are no problems in the hearts of Srila Rupa and Srila Sanatan. They don't want anything from Krishna. Therefore, he can take rest in their hearts and sleep very peacefully. The hearts of Gyanis, Karmis, and Yogis are full of material desires. They pray, "O Krishna, give me a very beautiful wife. O Krishna, I have no son. O Krishna, I want liberation, mukti." But Krishna's pure devotees don't want anything from themselves. Their only desire is for their bhakti to increase, to serve Krishna more and more. There's a footnote here. Hey, there's no footnote. Okay, so I guess I should remove that footnote. These six manifestations, Krishna, Diksha Guru, and Shiksha Guru, the devotees, the diverse energies, the incarnations, and the plenary portions, are all Krishna himself, but manifested separately for the performance of his pastimes. They are different and non-different, bhed and abhed from him. This truth is called Achinta Bheda Bhed Tattva. Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yajjnanamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdate. By quoting this verse from Śrīmad Bhagavatam 1-11, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj has explained the identity of Sri Krishna, Please read Srila Bhaktivedānta Swamiji's translation and purport. Devotee reads from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila 2.1. Translation. This should be in square brackets. And I think it should be in a different style. Anyways, doesn't matter. Translation. Learned transcendentalists who know... Oh, shoot. Okay. Hari Bol Raseshwari Mataji. Was my screen not sharing that whole time? Sorry, guys. I'm so spaced out. Translation. Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth say that it is non-dual knowledge and called impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and the personality of Godhead. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This Sanskrit verse appears as the 11th verse of the first canto, second chapter of Śrīmad Bhagavatam, where Srila Sutta Gosvāmī answers the questions of the sages headed by Shaunak Rishi concerning the essence of all scriptural instructions. Tattva Vida refers to persons who have knowledge of the absolute truth. They can certainly understand. Narad, Ved-Vyas, Brahma, Shankar, Shiva, and Shukadev Goswami are all Tattvavit. That is, they know the essence of the Vedic scriptures. Devotee continues reading. They can certainly understand knowledge without duality because they are on the spiritual platform. The absolute truth is known sometimes as Brahman, sometimes as Paramatma, and sometimes as Bhagavan. Persons who are in knowledge of the truth know that one who tries to approach the absolute simply by mental speculation will ultimately realize the impersonal Brahman, and one who tries to approach the absolute practice will be able to realize Paramatma. But one who has complete knowledge and spiritual understanding realizes the spiritual form of Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Devotees of the Personality of Godhead know that Sri Krishna, the son of the King of Vraj, is the absolute truth. They do not discriminate between Sri Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes. One who wants to separate the Lord's absolute name, form, and qualities must be understood to be lacking in absolute knowledge. A pure devotee knows that when he chants the transcendental name Krishna, Sri Krishna is present as the transcendental sound. In this regard, and then my Gurudev continues. In this regard, there's something very important to remember. Jaha Bhagavata Poro Vaishnavera Stani Ekanta Ashraya Koro Chaitanya Charani. It's Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita 5131. And something I'm going to be doing everywhere is doing this. If you want to understand Śrīmad Bhagavatam, you must approach a self-realized Vaishnava and hear from him. You can do this when you have completely taken shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is not possible for us to know everything about spiritual life simply by reading books. It is true that all knowledge is situated in Veda, Vedanta, Śrīmad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and in all the books of Srila Bhaktivedānta Swami Mahārāja. But that knowledge is under lock and key, a very powerful lock and key. One who is not so qualified will not understand the meaning simply by reading. Is there... Jaha Bhagavata Poro Vaishnavera Stani. There are two types of Bhagavat. Grantha Bhagavat, that's Shastra, and Bhakta Bhagavat, Vaishnavas. I think better rewrite Holy Scriptures. Dang it. I think every time my screen shuts off, then, yeah, the screen share stops. That's what happens. Okay, let me just make it so that my screen doesn't shut off. Display. Okay, Rishri, Mataji, Ganga Didi, they're all in the YouTube chat. Cool. Don't pronounce all of you. How do I set up? Anyways, I'm wasting time. How come it doesn't give me the... Whatever. I'll just have to keep on touching the mouse on my computer. All right. So, it's sharing, right? Yeah. Sorry, guys. There are two types of Bhagavat, Grantha Bhagavat and Bhakta Bhagavat, the key. And the realized soul, the Bhakta Bhagavat, reveals its meanings. So the Bhakta Bhagavat holds the key to unlock the Grantha Bhagavat. And I think it's better if we write these scriptures. I don't like translating one Sanskrit word with another holy scriptures or something like that. Okay. By reading Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Śrīmad Bhagavatam, and the other transcendental literatures of Srila Bhaktivedānta Swami Mahārāja and association of superior devotees, we can simply understand their beautiful meanings and experience the ocean of ras contained within them. Ras means the mellow taste of one's spiritual relationship with Krishna. Okay. Sorry, guys. Without the help of an advanced Vaishnav, one may read these books many times and still fall down. Why? Without proper association, one is unable to grasp the essence of these transcendental books. It is necessary for us to approach the Bhakta Bhagavats. They are more merciful than Śrīmad Bhagavatam, and under their guidance, we can realize the mercy of Śrīmad Bhagavatam and Sri Krishna. Otherwise, it is not possible. Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattam yajjnanamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti Śrīmad Bhagavatam 1-11. The absolute truth is realized in three phases of understanding by the knower of the absolute truth, and all of them are identical. Such phases of the absolute truth are expressed as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. It is essential for us to listen attentively and to take this teaching into our hearts. Those who know this established truth, this tattva, like Narada, Vyasa, Shankara, Sanak, Sanandana, Sanatan, and Sri Rupa Gosvāmī, have concluded that nothing is separate from Krishna. Nothing is independent from him. This established truth is called Advaya Gyan Tattva, the essential fundamental principle that Sri Krishna is the one without a second absolute truth. Everyone is subordinate to Krishna, including Baladev and all other incarnations, all demigods, and all living entities down to the grass. The illusory material nature, Maya, is also subordinate to him. The only fundamental truth is Sri Krishna, and all others are subordinate to him. No living entity in this world is, or any other world, no living entity in this world is, or any other world, or even Vaikuntha or Goloka Vrindavan is independent. I think this needs to go. Only Krishna is independent. All that we see is a manifestation of his power. Srimati Radhika is the power of Sri Krishna, and Lakshmi Devi is the manifestation of Srimati Radhika. And we jivas in this material world are also within Krishna. This principle is called unity in diversity. Knowers of reality understand this fundamental truth, that the absolute truth is Sri Krishna. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj quotes the above verse from Śrīmad Bhagavatam 1-11. Those with impersonal knowledge see this absolute truth as Brahman. What is Brahman? It is the perverted reflection of the rays of Krishna's toenails. It is without form, qualities, or pastimes. Paramatma, the supersoul dwelling in the hearts of all living entities, is a part of Krishna's eternity, sat, and transcendental knowledge, chit, potencies. He is a small fraction of Krishna. He is not independent. ete changsa kalapungsam Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mriddayanti Yuge Yuge. All of the above mentioned incarnations are either plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. But Lord Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. All of them appear on planets wherever there's a disturbance created by the atheists. The Lord needs to protect the theists. Sri Krishna is that supreme personality of Godhead, the supreme personality of the absolute truth. Śrīmad Bhagavatam and other Shastras confirm this verse from Brahma Samhita. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karanam. Oops. There are many personalities possessing the qualities of Bhagavan, but Krishna is supreme because no one can excel him. He is the supreme person, and his body is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. He is the primeval Lord Govinda and the cause of all causes. Krishna's first manifestation is Baladev Prabhu and Vraj, who is none different from him. Only their color is different, one white and one a very beautiful black. From Baladev Prabhu and Vrindavan, Mool Sankarshan, Baladev in Dwarka and Mathura. Mahasankarshan, Lord Nārāyaṇa, Mahavishnu, also known as Karna Dakshay Vishnu, Garbha Dakshay Vishnu, Kshira Dakshay Vishnu, Shesh, and this entire material world have manifested. That very Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of the Absolute Truth, advents as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and its supreme power, Srimati Radhika, comes as Sri Gadadhar Pandit. All right, that's our reading for today. Now, tomorrow we will read from part 2 of the book, The Supreme Gift. All right, thank you for reading with me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari, Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki Jai, Nitil Pavishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmar Bhaktivedānta, Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja Śrīla Gurudev ki Jai, Nitil Pavishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmar Bhaktivedānta Vaman Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai, Nitil Pavishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmar Bhaktivedānta Swami Mahārāja Śrīla Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmad Śrīla Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai. Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmad Bhaktivedānta Swami Mahārāja Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosvāmī Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitila Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Śrīla Gokṣaras Babaji Mahārāja ki Jai. Nitila Pravishta Śrīla Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai. Nitila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Śrīla Jagannath Das Babaji Mahārāja ki Jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga ki Jai, Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jeev Gopal Patadash Raghunath Shara Goswami Prabhu ki Jai, Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki Jai, Namachay Shri Haridas Thakur ki Jai, Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai, Shri Kshetra Mandal Gaura Mandal, Vraja Mandal Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki Jai, Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj ki Jai, Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kund ki Jai, Shri Muna Devi Ganga Devi ki Jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai, Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki jai, Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bom. Vrindai Tulsi Devai, Priya Krishna Vashta, Krishna Bhakti Padadevi Sattvatai Namo. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vaja. Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat pranams, everybody. So we are I think about 1/3 through the book now. I'll look through the book and divide it all up and see how many more days it will take us to finish. And then we will continue with our Śrīmad Bhagavatam reading. We'll begin Canto 9. All right, Dandavat pranams, everybody. Jai Shri Radhe. Hari Bol, Braj Kishore Prabhu.